Welcome to the Chamber Spotlight, a local talk show podcast brought to you by the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce in association with the local scene. We record on a regular basis and will cover many topics that span local business, local elections, local town governance, and a citizens' academy. I'm your host, Fraser Townley. Today is May the 11th. Tomorrow is May 12th, town meeting, and I'm here with the town manager, Bill Chenard. Bill, how are you doing?
I'm doing well today.
Excellent. So first of all, we're going to go to the town headlines we recorded earlier with Andrea Cesarini. Today is May the 11th, and I'm here at Town Hall with Andrea Cesarini. Andrea, you've got some headlines for us.
I absolutely do. So our Zoning Board of Appeals will be meeting Monday, May 11th at Town Hall. The school committee will be meeting at North Pembroke Elementary School at 3:30 on Tuesday, May 12th. And our advisory committee will be meeting at Pembroke High School on the 12th at 6:30, just prior to town meeting. Annual town meeting will be at Pembroke High School, 80 Warning Lane, at 7 p.m. Please arrive prior to the meeting to check in. Meetings need to be scheduled within 48 hours, so check the section of the town website titled Agendas and Minutes and set the start and end date for the time periods you're interested in for the latest update. A reminder that most of these meetings are broadcast on the local scene. Meetings can be rewatched on www.thelocalscene.media/Pembroke/.
But to be clear, you can watch the town meeting on that URL, correct? But you can't vote. You can only vote if you're there.
That's correct. You have to be there to vote. There's no proxy voting at all, not for town meeting. Some other news around town. So water flushing has begun for the season. Please check the alert section at the top of the main page of the town's website for the most up-to-date schedule. Several areas around town are expected to have their hydrants flushed this week. Always check the website before using your water, as the schedule can be updated concurrently with flushing. Water bills have hit mailboxes, so pay by Wednesday, May 27th at 4:30 to avoid paying any late fees. Early voting for the May 16th election will wrap up this Wednesday, May 13th at 4:30. Early voting is being held upstairs in room 13 at the conference room at Town Hall. Polling precincts will be open from 9 to 5 on Saturday, May 16th. All precincts report to the community center to vote on Election Day. The 2025 annual report is live on the town's website under Newsflash. For those looking to prepare for Tuesday's annual town meeting, the warrant for May 12th's town meeting is live on the town's website under Newsflash. A reminder, the clerk's office will be closing at 3 p.m. on Tuesday in preparation for the town meeting. And please return your annual census if you have not prior to June 1st to avoid being listed as inactive on the voter registration rolls.
You can still vote, though.
You can still vote if you're listed as inactive, but you do have to sign an affidavit of affirmation of continuous residency. So that's the only time that we ever ask you for an ID, and you have to sign some paperwork. So if you get a postcard from us by after June 1st, it means you did not answer your street listing, and you must do so before the next election to avoid having to fill out any paperwork at the elections.
Terrific. Thanks very much, Andy. We'll see you next week.
Yes, you will.
And best of luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Welcome back. So, Bill, this is all about you. So, you know what? Has anyone ever asked you what your background is?
Not in a podcast, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, today's happened. It's happened. What's your background, Bill?
So I've been in municipal government for at least 2 decades. I have worked for large cities and obviously small towns. I work for the town of Pembroke now. I've worked for the city of Newton, very different operation, there's staff for everything in a city.
Yeah.
You have, assistants everywhere. I've worked for the town of Natick.
Mm-hmm.
Natick is a moderately sized town, and they also have multiple levels of staff. They'll have human resources departments. They'll have IT departments. They'll have facilities departments.
Yeah.
And several other things. And now I work for the town of Pembroke.
And you're all of those.
I'm enjoying my life in the town of Pembroke, but you don't have multiple levels of staff here.
Uh-huh.
There's probably 7 jobs that myself or my office does that are done by others in both Natick or Newton and most cities and towns in the Commonwealth. So, when it comes to human resources and information technology and facilities and project management and a handful of other things, we do it all.
Sure.
So it takes time to do those. I have, fortunately, have expertise in many of those areas. I understand the public works arena. I understand water and sewer. We don't have sewer. We have septic in Pembroke. But I understand that. I understand the licensing requirements, the DEP requirements for all of those things. I've managed facilities departments, so I understand what has to occur in a facility. I've managed major projects. It's certainly a highlight of my career. Probably the reason I was hired in Pembroke was they knew projects were coming and they knew my project management history. And I'm very proud of that. The very few municipal projects actually come in under budget. All of my projects come in under budget.
Fantastic.
Community
That's
center
good to hear.
is significantly under budget. We are projecting that the public safety buildings will be under budget.
Yeah.
And those are far enough along now where that projection is a pretty safe projection.
Good. And I have to say, the public safety building, and this wasn't on the list of questions, but the public safety building, the one in the Barker and 53, is that ahead of budget? Sorry, not budget, schedule. Is that ahead of schedule?
It is pretty much on schedule.
Oh, it is. Okay.
There's a couple areas where we're ahead of schedule, and there's some areas where we're behind schedule. But for a completion date, we're on schedule. I'll give you some examples. The building itself is doing really well, progressing slightly ahead of schedule. The moving of the house is behind schedule. We were supposed to do that in March. We're not going to do it till August now. But that's such a small piece.
That's quite a slight. What happened to the slippage there?
So just weather, mostly the snow and the melt off. You didn't want to pour a foundation for that and then have the water run downhill and basically go under the concrete. You want to be able to stabilize that, make sure it's ready.
Yeah.
Do the move, put it on the foundation. So it was just.
But moving from March to August, that seems like.
Yeah. What they did was they filled that March slot with other work, which is why the building looks like it's slightly ahead of schedule.
Got it.
And then built in the move of the Turner House so that it fits into the schedule.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's great. And the one on School Street, how's that doing?
This fire substation is about 2.5 to 3 weeks behind schedule, but they anticipate they'll be able to, catch up. And the good news about that is it's scheduled to be done in the late fall this year. So we have some flexibility in that schedule because the other project, the main headquarters, isn't scheduled to be done until late spring next year. So there's flexibility there. So even if it slips and it doesn't open on time, we'll be okay.
Yeah. And what are the plans for the buildings that are being vacated?
So the police station, we are working with the legislature. We have a earmark to do a study on what we want to do. I think we'll use it for town offices, et cetera. The fire station is really unknown. It's likely that we'll look to sell that or do something. We don't have a town use for that, so I'm not a fan of holding on to buildings for nostalgia purposes. It makes no sense. The town should look to sell any property that we're not using actively and collect taxes on it.
I think that's great real estate for the town centre. When Shepherd's Funeral Home, when that's converted to the tavern and the apartments that are going in there, it would make sense it would just complete the circle if we had something, a commercial property on the fire station. Yeah.
Commercials. I love commercial. The residential has additional costs and uses generally associated with it, where commercial properties generally don't.
Yeah. Good. I get the sense that you covered most of the job in that conversation. Is there anything else you wanted to just share with the town about what it is your job entails?
No, I think I covered most of it. I obviously left off some holes there, communications, the website, staff in my office do that where other cities and towns, have all of that. But generally covered most of it.
Yeah, good. Any secret things that you do that you want the town to know about?
Oh, I do podcasts. I do a weekly TV show.
That's right.
This week in Pembroke. I encourage everybody to take a look at that. I talk about everything from construction projects and roadway projects to high school sports. I'm a big high school sports fan, so I always throw some games in there, talk about how the teams are doing. So, I check it out.
Terrific. And do you record that here?
I do not. We record that remotely.
Oh, okay. Very good. Good. All right. So the main conversation I thought the reason why the timing is important is tomorrow is the town meeting. There's a lot of things going on the warrant. So we should talk about the warrant and make sure that we demystify anything that's mystical.
I certainly hope at this point things are demystified, but I am happy to further demystify this if anyone has questions.
Well, let's run through it. So I've got the warrant in front of me. Wage and classification plan, both the select board and the advisory committee have recommended that go forward. That's just the wages that we have to pay the staff.
So
right?
It's basically a housekeeping article that we're required to do every year. So any employee of the town who is not a contractual employee, which is either you have a personnel contract or you're a member of a collective bargaining agreement, their salary is set by the wage and personnel plan. Mm-hmm. So we just do that. We do a study on where the wages are. Mm-hmm. One of the challenges we're having with our lower end jobs is that since COVID, the wage that's out there that you can go in a retail establishment or not to advertise for McDonald's is so much higher than what it was pre-COVID. So we're having a challenge.
What drove that up?
I don't know. We've tried to analyze that, and we were thinking, is this just a temporary thing?
Yeah.
Don't know. But so we're not just competing with. I'll take lifeguards as a perfect example. We're not just competing with the Red Cross and the Y and other cities and towns for lifeguards now. It's if they can go and they can work for a McDonald's for $25 an hour, we're now competing with those restaurants and retailers to hire those folks.
For sure. That's not bad, actually. $25 an hour. What's the state, right? Is it $16.50?
Yes, now.
That's the minimum. Mm-hmm. And is the federal still $7.25?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure about the federal, so I won't commit 100%, but I know it's significantly
lower than the $16.50.
Absolutely.
And so 25, that's think about a career change. The operating budget is the operating budget. And where are we, 81 now?
So the overall operating budget is in the mid-80s. And people, when you talk about operating budget, we have two enterprise funds, which are Articles 3 and 4 also. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about where the budget is, are we at the 85 number or are we at the 91 number? It depends on how you look at the budget.
Okay. But it's under 100.
It is under 100. Yes, that is for sure.
Very good. And is it growing at a greater rate than we're able to?
So it is challenging in the sense that our wages are not. We've had to make some corrections, as we talked about with the wage and personnel scales. However, generally speaking, we're able to manage our wages. The biggest challenge we have is that part of our operating budget are our pension costs, our health care costs. Mm-hmm. Those numbers are growing. We're limited to under Prop 2.5 to 2.5% plus any new growth. Yeah. And when your health care goes up 10%, and your healthcare is our third largest budget in the town, that's a challenge. It's mm-hmm. a significant challenge. So insurance, health insurance, property and liability are all increasing greater than the 2.5 plus the new growth. So we have to manage that aggressively.
Yeah. I'm not a financial expert, but with the growth in the stock market, I'm surprised the pensions are putting a strain. It must all be mainly health insurance.
So pensions are tough because our municipal pensions set by PERIC, which is the state, where we're at, and pension liability, continues to climb. And when they look at that and they do their actuarials, our pension numbers are going up significantly as a percentage. And they have for many years. The good news is our pension liability will be paid off in 2031. So then those funds, we're going to throw it at our OPEB, our other post-employment benefits, which is benefits for retirees that we have an obligation to pay.
Cool. Okay, so Article 3, Water Enterprise Operating Budget. We had Dan Sullivan here about 2 or 3 podcasts ago. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we got an awful lot of data out to the public on what he's getting up to. But I noted there's an increase of $2 million on the debt servicing. Mm-hmm. that's gone up. I mean, it used to be like 800,000.
And that's going to significantly go up as we move through the next several years. There was a demand about 2.5 years ago for the town to start to improve its water quality, its water mains, its filtration. Unfortunately, we live in an area where there's gigantic manganese in our water. So it creates, over time, it creates a, colored water, and we need to filter that out.
Yeah.
So a lot of that debt cost is to replace aging water mains and put in filtration systems.
Okay, so that brings me, so I'm going to skip the solid waste operating budget for a second. Article 5, the capital budget, that's quite a significant budget in Appendix E, but the largest slug of that is $42 million for water.
Yep, just under $42 million for water. That's a new tank.
Yep.
The two stations 2 and 3 treatment for those 2 wells to get that iron and manganese out of our water.
So $29 million, if I have understood it correctly, $29 million of the 42 is for that filtration.
That's correct. Well,
on the well.
It's 2 wells.
Yeah, but it's filtration, though, of the water, getting that manganese out. And you did a great job flushing just before we vote on this. Everyone's got brown water at the moment.
That's not the plan.
So I know it's the time of year. I get it. So the $2 million, just so that I'm clear, the $2 million in the water enterprise operating budget, is that servicing the debt of the $29 million that we need for the filtration?
It is not.
It is not. Okay.
When I said over the next few years, you're going to see that number significantly increase. The $29 million is part of that.
Okay. So we're getting the $29 million. We're borrowing against the enterprise fund. And that will increase our debt servicing on Article 3 over time. Okay. I think that's clear. It's clear to me. I hope it's clear to the residents. Is there going to be any presentation on this tomorrow, or is it just...
Generally speaking, we answer questions. Historically in Pembroke, we haven't done big formal presentations. We've done formal presentations for advisory, select board, and then we do a pre-town meeting event where we will talk about that.
Sure. And as I said, we also did a podcast that I thought Dan was terrific, actually. Solid waste operating budget, I think we can skip that. I think that's obvious unless there was something you wanted to.
There's nothing special there. It's a recycle center and then pickup and disposal of waste and recycling.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. So this is to do with recycling and the. How are we doing with recycling? Because didn't we go...
So we were doing really bad when I first came here.
Yeah.
I made it a focus point of mine, and we really did really well with contamination in our recycling. So what happens with recycling, it goes to what you call a MRF, which is a materials energy recycling facility. And they then sort it, and then they sell the recyclables for income. When those recyclables are contaminated with trash or leaves or anything that isn't recyclable, you pay a contamination fee.
Right.
Without a contamination fee in Pembroke, we could actually be making money, or our disposal costs would be very, very small. With contamination, you're always going to have some contamination, but you want to keep your contamination very, very low. Ideally, we'd love to keep our contamination in the 10% range. We've been pretty low. We've been 13%, but we've also been over 20%, which our last study that they completed, when you dump the truck, they calculate your contamination, and that's what you pay your fee until the next time, was pretty high. It was over 20%. We need to reduce that as an entity, and if we can save the cost. We won't be paying that additional fee for contamination. We'll actually be receiving, funds back, revenue.
Yeah.
So that's important. We have a study upcoming. So look at what you can put in your recycling and just put those items. If you question it, throw it in the trash.
Yeah. So we had Nicole Leidick on the podcast, and she was telling us all about this. So we know the number. We don't know the numbers. She explained what you just explained. She told us that the biggest contaminant are the plastic bin liners that people put the recycling in, which to me sounded like it's a no-brainer. That's an easy thing to explain.
Yeah, keep the bags out of the recycling stream. What happens when they go through the automated system, they basically get caught up and they make ropes, and then they have to shut down the line and cut them out like you're cutting ropes out of the system.
Yeah.
No plastic bags.
Yeah.
We've had some really strange stuff over the years. We had an urn with ashes in it. We had a bowling ball.
I wonder where that went.
The big joke was that the wife got mad at the husband, and the husband's dad ended up in recycling. So I don't know what happened, but we saw it. We physically saw it. So you don't, and then leaves and yard waste. Take your leaves and yard waste to the recycle center.
Yeah.
There's no cost associated with that.
Yeah.
Throw them in a brown bag and take them over there.
Yeah. And it's a good social event going to the recycling center every Saturday as well.
So I hear. I don't frequent it myself. But.
I do. It's a social event. Okay, so that's. I'm glad we didn't skip that. In actual fact, capital budget we've discussed. Trust fund transfers. That was favorably agreed upon by both the advisory and the select board. What's that all about?
Yep. So trust funds are trust funds that we've set aside money to cover costs of future items, generally speaking. OPEB is the biggest, other post-employment benefits. It's a huge item. The rating agencies for bond ratings are looking at that now. So we want to make sure we continue to do that. Separation pay, we have certain separation pay costs if someone retires or leaves and they're holding on to, vacation time or personal time. We have to pay that out. So we have that. Capital stabilization fund for capital projects. We keep setting aside money so that we can fund future capital projects. And then our stabilization funds for our rainy day. Yeah. Those are critically important to a bond rating. Rating agencies, it's one of the top things that they look at. And it's one of the top questions they ask when you do your ratings call. What are you doing? What is your plan?
Yeah.
So we don't want to, unless we have an absolute catastrophic event or a truly rainy day event, we don't want to spend those monies. We want to continue so we can keep our bond rating up.
So let me ask you a question. So we've got contingencies for the public safety building.
Mm-hmm.
And those contingencies are built into the budget. So I believe the budget was it 60-something?
61.
61. And of that 61, about 5 to 6 million was a contingency. It was about 10%.
It's not quite that high, but yes, generally speaking.
Right. If we coming in on budget means we came in at 61 or we came in at the price without the contingency.
So coming in on budget would mean you're at 61. You're always going to spend some of those contingencies because when you do a bid, you don't necessarily know what the cost. So you give a number that's part of your contingency that you know you're going to spend. Soils is a big example. You don't know what the soil conditions are until you start digging in the ground.
Yeah.
So you set it. There's a set aside for those numbers for those parts of the project. So you're going to spend those.
Right.
But you always you never and you generally speaking you're going to spend a significant portion of the contingency, but you never want to go outside of that. You don't want to allow what we call scope creep, which means that during the project, there's other things that are found where a contractor will want to do it for you, or someone on your staff will say, "Hey, I like that idea. We want to do it." No.
Yeah.
You say no to scope creep.
Absolutely.
Scope creep, so that we can make sure that we come in under budget.
Yeah. But if you did come under budget, do you put that difference into this fund that you've just been talking about?
No, we actually give it back to the taxpayers.
Okay. Great.
Yep.
Terrific.
So we would reduce the total that we borrow, and we would go to town meeting and give it back to the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Or spend it on another project, which is essentially giving it back to the taxpayers anyway.
Absolutely. So we get more bang for our buck, so to speak. Article 7, this is CPC, right? Mm-hmm. Community Preservation Fund.
So this is the allocations for CPC. This isn't the actual projects. The projects are in another article.
Oh, let's skip
Article 12.
Okay, so let's skip Article 7 for now. Revolving fund limits.
Yeah, so we have several revolving funds in the town for different projects. This is where we take in income. These are the spending limits from that income. Okay. So, let's pick something. Cemetery, I guess, is an easy one because people understand that. So you pay a cemetery fee for a burial. that goes into this fund as revenue.
Okay.
The costs for that service come out of the expense side. These are the limits for the cost.
Okay. So the Recreation Commission at 125, that's the biggest.
So recreation charges fees for a lot of programs. The biggest is the childcare.
Yep.
Our after school program and our summer program. These fees come into the program and then pay this counseling staff out of this budget.
I heard something the other day, and maybe I shouldn't have heard it, but we don't charge for when we do a weights and measure test on a pump in town.
Oh, we do.
Do we charge for that?
Yeah, there's a fee. Yep.
Oh, good. Because that's good revenue. That's good
Yeah,
money.
we don't have that much, but sure.
Okay. Then whoever told me that was misinformed, so I apologize. We'll move on. Where are we? Article 9, Fund Collective Bargaining Agreements.
Yeah, so that is a no action because we haven't settled that agreement.
Fine.
So we're still negotiating.
Okay. And then we move on to the regional school budget. What intrigued me with it, I mean, we all know about VOTEC. We've been talking it to death. It's been very well covered. We talked about it on Thursday night at the forum, in which we, as a Chamber of Commerce, make the statement that our businesses in town need technical, skilled workforce that can afford to live in town, and that's our mission statement, so to speak. So we know where we stand on that. However, on this, the advisory committee recommendation was the town meeting floor. That just means they're saying let the people decide.
Exactly. They think that it is something that the voters, the registered voters of the town, should be making a determination, and they were comfortable moving it to the town meeting floor.
But the others have moved to the town meeting floor, and the advisory committee have made a favourable action. So are they? I'm trying to work out whether this is. Do they not think it's favourable?
No.
Okay.
I don't. No, certainly I was at that meeting. That's not the impression that I got from them. The impression was that they were more comfortable letting the people decide.
But they're letting the people decide on everything.
Well, they are, but they're making a recommendation on some things. It's not a situation where
They don't want to be caught out. No, sorry, correction, not caught out. But they don't want to be the ones that make the recommendation. They want the town to decide, which is, I think, is terrific. And the debt authorization, that's... So if I understand correctly, we've got two bills. The first bill is the operating. It's not going to be $2 million from the get-go, is it?
It is not.
Right.
But
it's going to ramp up to 2.
It is. But if we don't have an override to cover that $2 million, we could be dramatically cutting budgets in future years, with layoffs at school teachers and firefighters and police officers and across the board. It's very dangerous to go in without asking the residents for the cost of VOTEC.
But as of today, in 5 years' time, it's going to be $2 million.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. And then the next one, the debt authorization, South Shore Regional Vocation. The point I made to Aaron Obey, I don't know if you listened to that podcast, is if we were running a balance sheet, this would be an asset on the balance sheet because we're buying brick and mortar. We're not, and it's not the kind of asset where it depreciates over time. If anything, this is going to appreciate. No? Yes? We're buying something.
So we are going to have brick and mortar in that sense. But as the building ages, there will be a depreciation built into that. And there will be capital costs when it's 30 years from now, to make improvements to that building. So, but we will have
But it's like
that.
any property.
Correct.
Any property is going to have that.
Exactly.
So, like I say, this, although the town is being asked to pay it, and we're going to have to pay it, we're buying something. It's not a cost that withers away.
It is an asset that the town will have.
Correct. Very good. Now we get to the CPC. Is this the bit where the individuals? Okay, let's get our teeth into this because it's been favorably actioned, but what do you have to say about that?
So, the CPC is a very distinct law. It allows for certain pieces in the buckets that we have for CPC. And if someone brings a project forward that meets those criteria, then it typically gets recommended for a town meeting floor. Mm-hmm. I do take a look at them. I certainly, prefer town projects. I think that's important. Keep the money off of our capital costs where we can do that. However, there are other projects that are allowed. Housing, as an example. Yeah. And historical are the two biggest. Recreation is almost 100% town projects.
Right. So is there anything controversial in this list?
As I look through it, I don't think so.
Right.
Obviously some folks in the past have had, issues with some of the CPC things for non-town owned property, but they are allowed under the statute and actually encouraged under the statute.
So, okay. So we haven't been playing it wrong.
No, absolutely not.
Cool. Okay. So CPC, Article 13, the HEROES Act. What is that?
So the HEROES Act is a legislative act that was passed in 2004 by the legislature that allows local cities and towns to add to the state Chapter 59 exemptions, in this case just for veterans, the veterans exemptions. It's Chapter 59, Section 5, Chapter 59, Clause 5, Section 22J is where we're doing this. If anybody wants to do that, if you read Chapter 59, Clause 5, you'll understand all of the exemptions because 59 Clause 5 covers everything from elderly, surviving spouse, blind, and obviously veterans. So this specifically will have a local increase of 10% on the veterans clauses, and those are, disabled veterans from different categories, from 100% down to 10%.
Does it also include Gold Star family members?
It does, yes. One of those is a Gold Star family member.
Right. Okay, good. Excellent. Because I remember there was a while back, there was a provision for Gold Star family members to get some kind of tax break.
So that is a work-off program,
right?
Where they donate hours to the town, and the town pays them by a tax break.
So the select board didn't allow this one to go forward for a period of time that seemed a little unfair.
So
to me,
it's in place now for us, and people can do a tax work-off, similar to the senior tax work-off, almost an identical program.
Cool. Article 14, I know a little bit about this.
So Article 14 is a pretty simple one. Yep. It's for kennels, the statute. We've been chasing this for several years now, amending our local bylaw to match state statute. So state statute changed, so we're doing a simple amendment for the kennel bylaw.
It's basically registering your kennel.
What's that?
It's registering your kennel and paying a fee.
Yeah. So if you have 5 dogs, it's a kennel. And that's what the state statute says. We want to match our local bylaw to the state statute.
Yeah. So that's, and I believe it's the bylaw committee that put that through. Okay. Good.
And the town clerk.
Yes. Article 15, accept town reports.
Yeah, this one's a pretty simple one. So we produce a report every calendar year. This is for the town meeting to accept that report.
Yeah. And this has been published now, and it's available.
It's available now. It's all out. It's published.
Is it downloadable on the website?
I don't know if it is yet, but it will be.
It will be. Okay. So how do we accept it if it's not available for review?
Well, we have the books, and they will be at town meeting.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they're available now if someone wants to pick one up.
Right. I remember having this conversation actually with Linda Peterson. She came on the podcast and was talking about the process of the advisory committee and what have you. And she was saying that at town meeting we accept the budget, but we don't know if that's the actual budget or not because it hadn't been ratified by the state or what we're getting from the state.
It is the budget. Town meeting does appropriate the funds. That is the actual appropriation. The only thing the state does is actually set the tax rate that pays for that. So actually the assessor set the tax rate with a vote on classification from the select board, and then we just submit the recap to the state. It's an accounting function where they just make sure that our accounting is okay, and then they check the boxes and approve it.
Right. But we don't know what we're getting from the state.
Oh, you mean
empirically?
You're talking about state aid.
Yes.
Okay, so you're right. We have no idea. When we start this budget process, we have no idea what the state aid is going to be. The governor announces her portion of the budget mid to late January, which is the number that we typically plug in here. The House then works a couple of months and announces what they're anticipating.
Yeah.
The Senate then takes a bit and passes their portion, which they just did last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the two legislative branches, the House and Senate, get together in conference committee and pass a final budget, which then goes to the governor for her signature or her veto.
Mm-hmm.
Some governors have tried to veto a number of things, and some have had them overridden, and others have not. The vetoes have stuck. So you're right. We won't know July, sometimes August, what the state budget is. It is a challenge.
So we know what we're spending, but we don't know what's coming in.
And that's why we have fall town meeting, so that we can correct any. If we don't get what we anticipate, then we'll have to make corrections at the fall town meeting.
Sure. Good. Annual town election. What are we voting on there?
So that is the election warrant. My opinion is we don't necessarily have to do that because the election warrant is voted by the select board, and it goes forward to the election. But town meeting plays a role. It's something we do in Pembroke.
So, okay, let me ask you a technical question then. What if the town votes no?
Doesn't matter.
Exactly. Okay. So let's not waste people's time voting no. I turn the page and I see it's been signed off by 4 of the 5 members. Is that a problem?
No, we only need 3.
Okay.
One of the members was absent that meeting, so didn't sign it.
Right. Okay. Well, that's it. I don't think we need to go into the detail. You're going to be going into the detail tomorrow.
We do have this special, which is 2 articles also.
Oh, where's that on this?
So
show me the special.
There are 2 articles on the special. So the first article is to fund basically shortfalls in our current fiscal year.
Right.
We have some things that are going on there. The biggest one we're going to have is the snow and ice deficit. We have a $1.2 million and snow and ice. We're funding $900K and hoping that both FEMA and MEMA will come through with some cash for us for the large snowstorm that we had. So
wait, if we're funding $900K and it was 1.2, why are we looking for $1 million?
So we have these other different departments. So we talk about the veterans. When Dave McPhillips retired, we had to go from part-time to full-time. Similar things within special services, and then our legal services is just our legal budget from court cases.
Yeah. Very good.
And then,
so that's to be voted on.
Yes. Yep. That will happen at 7:30. It's slated for 7:30 on town meeting night. That's how it's scheduled historically here in Pembroke. So we'll pause the annual town meeting, go into the special, vote the special, and then go back to the annual.
Okay.
And Article 2 is to fund the collective bargaining agreement, the same one that's in the annual. It's no action because we haven't settled that.
Okay. And what's this one here?
Nope. That's
Article 5.
Yeah. That's the main town meeting, regular town meeting.
Okay. Very good. So at 7:30, we'll take a break. Well, we won't take a break. I mean,
we will pause. We will adjourn the annual, go into the special, vote the special, and then go back to the annual.
Right. Is that strange we do it that way, or is that just...
different cities and towns do it differently.
Yeah.
Some do it the way we do, which is completely acceptable, and others just do them as separate. They complete one, and a lot of cities and towns will do the special up front and then move on to the annual.
Can I tell you what I hope? I hope this is... it's a bit of a pet peeve with me. And I'm not talking on behalf of the chamber, but I'm hoping Article 10 and Article 11 come out of the bingo ball last.
Yeah, you know what? There's something to be said for that. I think this will be a well-attended town meeting.
Me too.
I think that probably 2/3 of the attendees will be there for those two articles.
Correct.
If they come out first, there's going to be a mass exodus.
Yeah.
And we'll finish the work of the town. We have to at town meeting, but all those folks will have left. If they come out last, they'll be there for the entire town meeting.
So Stephen Dodge has also done the podcast, and he told me something very interesting. And that is that we need to have a quorum, obviously. Mm-hmm. The quorum is, I believe it's 150.
That's correct.
But that's to start the meeting.
Correct.
We only need 100 to continue the meeting.
And you don't even need 100.
I know.
There's a
that's
technical
the key.
matter there.
It's only if it's challenged.
If someone challenges the quorum. So if everybody keeps quiet, if we don't have 100, we can finish. If otherwise, we'll be back Thursday and then Tuesday and then Thursday until we can finish.
But if 10 and 11 come out first and it goes one way or the other, and then everyone leaves, the half a dozen people that are left.
No, there'll be more than a half a dozen.
You know what I'm saying, though? The people that are left, someone could put their hand up and say, can we just re-vote that or challenge it?
So you have to have a reason to challenge a vote.
I understand, but you can still do it.
You could do it, but it's not likely that we'll be able to do that. There would have to be some material information that was absent at the time we voted.
Sure.
It's not likely that that's going to be the case.
Okay. Stephen shared a possibility that if it may not.
I don't think that's going to happen. It is possible. But there's going to be so much discussion surrounding this that there isn't going to be anything material that isn't discussed.
Right. I hear you. So you think it's going to be a long one tomorrow?
Actually, I don't. I think we're going to be
okay.
I think it's going to be relatively short. I think the points are going to be made around the few articles where people are going to have discussion. Most of our articles are routine articles that people are used to and understand.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be there for a significant number of hours. There'll be robust discussion around some articles, which is good. It should be. I wish there was discussion around every article, but some of the articles are they're just the same every single year.
Actually, the last town meeting we had was pretty robust debate over VOTEC. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I'll be there. I look forward to it.
I will too.
Excellent. Well, I know you will. Good. All right. So that's the warrants. Busy night tomorrow night. Hopefully we'll get this podcast out in early enough time for people to hear it if they're interested. Let's move on to, let's close with your vision. What's your vision for the town, Bill? So
my vision for the town is that we implement any best practices that we currently don't have. And there's a handful of them that are out there. I think over my tenure, we've done a very good job with that. Transparency is huge. On the town side, we show every bit of our budget, every single line item within our budget. There's robust discussion amongst both the select board and advisory. Department has come to that. But my vision is that we manage the funds of the town responsibly in a manner that we can avoid overrides. Also, to avoid overrides under Proposition 2.5, you're going to have new growth. So let's work together. We have a master plan. Let's work together to make sure that that's out there, that we're bringing new growth to the town. There's significant new growth on the horizon. I'm super excited about that. Let's push off that operating override as long as we can. When we look at our neighboring communities, they're struggling. Whether just about every single community that we border has either had an operating override or is scheduled to have one, this year for municipal and school operations. So the longer we can do that, the better off for our taxpayers. I also want to encourage and help. If the South Shore VOTEC passes, there's going to be a significant number of people that are going to struggle to pay that, and we have to recognize that and help them out in any manner we can. And some of the things that we can do, there's obviously costs. You have to, manage your facilities, manage your infrastructure. But if you do that in a responsible manner, you can assist the taxpayers and the ratepayers. So that would be my overall goal.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point because I do believe there's two questions. The question is, and not for the town, but town voters need to ask themselves, do they want more tradespeople out there? And the answer is, it is yes. We do need more tradespeople. At the end of the day, AI is going to eat in. I said this, I can't remember what podcast it was, but there are people who are currently spending a fortune learning a skill which is just going to disappear to AI, totally disappear. And it's a real shame because they've probably got debts of $100,000 for a career that, or a skill that just don't need it. Whereas with vocational education, AI can't turn a wrench.
It's not going to fix your car.
No.
It may help them assess and determine what's wrong with it, but it's not going to actually do the repairs there. It's
Correct.
not going to do the plumbing, the electrical, the sheet metal work, HVAC work, some of your skilled other programs.
Pest control.
Computer
none
science.
of that.
I mean, the work on the computers. AI will replace some of the software pieces, but it's not going to replace the hardware pieces.
Not at all.
We're all going to have to continue to have that support.
And so therefore, having access to vocational education is critical. The next big question is, how do we pay for it and can we afford it? That's the piece that people are getting caught up with. And in truth, we have to get through step one first, and then we have to look at who's paying for it and how can they afford it. And I think you've answered that extremely well by saying, look, there are going to be people that can't afford it, and therefore we have to have strategies to support those people. I believe that's what you said, right?
That's exactly what I said.
There you go. So I think that's terrific, and I think that's a really strong and important message to get out to the residents. We are over time, but I don't have a problem with that. I don't think Chris has a problem with that. I don't think the listeners are going to have a problem with that because it's been extremely informative. Is there anything else that you wanted to get across to the town?
No, I just, come to town meeting, engage. So many cities and towns struggle with quorums. We haven't historically here, and I don't think we will tomorrow night. But if you don't come and you don't vote and you don't speak, you're not being heard. And that's critically important for a manager.
Yeah.
A manager needs to hear from the residents, and not everybody calls me up and says, hey, I support this or I don't support this. If you have a problem, if the trash gets missed or there's a water main break, I hear about those, but I don't hear about the day-to-day stuff. And town meeting is an exact opportunity to do that. So I want to encourage everybody to come out tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Pembroke High School Auditorium, 80 Learning Lane.
There's a PSA for you. We actually did something on WATD where we said exactly what you've just been saying. In the morning, when we're around the cooler, we're talking about the roads, the color of the water, the education, the fire, and the police. They can all be impacted by whether you show up and vote. And so let's do it. Let's show up and vote. Terrific, Bill. Listen, I want to thank you for participating today, but I also want to thank our listeners for tuning in. This podcast will be available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, with additional links on our Facebook page. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce. And if you're interested in becoming a member of the Chamber, please go to the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce website, pembrokechamber.org. Also, a bit of another PSA for us, Taste of Pembroke. We are still promoting the Taste of Pembroke. We want to promote the Taste of Pembroke. It'll be at the Community Centre on June the 6th. Looking for volunteers and looking forward to seeing as many Pembroke residents as possible and Pembroke establishments supporting that event. So that's our next big major event for the Chamber next month. Bill, thank you so much. I know you have an extremely busy schedule, so I'm very excited that you took time to do this for the residents, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening.
Yes, my pleasure.
Okay, thank you.